I'm a 19-year-old male, and this is about my older half-sisters. Dad had them with a high school girlfriend but was never in their lives. He'd sleep with her a few times and just never be involved with the girls. She was a train wreck, and he promised her parents he would take them if she got so bad they were suffering, but he never planned to keep the promise, never told anyone about them, or supported them. So he married my mom, and she had no idea. Then, when she was pregnant with me, the grandparents showed up and said the girls weren't being taken care of, and he needed to step up and be their dad. My mom was home on her own and was in so much shock. The girls were 6 and 8 at the time, I think. Dad got home after several hours, and once he realized Mom wasn't handling it like some saint, he tried to talk her into raising them together. She didn't want to stay with a liar or raise someone else's kids, so she left him and they divorced when I was an infant. Dear old Dad didn't want them either and would allow them to fixate on my mom. He tried to pawn them off on her many times. He'd ask in front of me for her to take them. He tried to get her to co-parent the 3 of us instead of just me. Mom always kept firm and tried to keep that stuff away from me, but Dad never did. So the girls spent years wanting my mom to be their mom. They were in their teens trying to use me to get Mom to adopt them and stuff of that nature. It was sad. It was awkward as heck for me. The pressure was a lot. I hated Dad, and when I was 14 I stopped seeing him, and by extension the girls who still lived with him. Then, a couple of years ago, they made contact with me and tried to have a relationship again, but they were still so fixated on Mom, and it made me uncomfortable, so I always tried to avoid heavy topics with them. A couple of weeks ago, while I was at Mom's, they showed up and started yelling at Mom and telling her that she was a piece of crap, and she became their mom the moment she married Dad and should have been there for them. They told her she owed them as much as she owed me and asked how she couldn't love them. I stepped in and told them they needed to leave and that Mom was not their mom and they needed to accept that. It took some time, but they left after I told them they needed to seek help to get over their fixation on my mom and learn to accept that she's not their mom. I told them they needed to stay away from Mom, leave her alone, and work on themselves. They texted me saying I was an idiot just like her and they deserve so much better. Am I the idiot? The only idiot here is your father, who messed those girls up so badly that 2 girls in their 20s are convinced that their dad's second wife should act and love them like a mother. I feel sorry for them, to be honest. Not the idiot. You need to email or text them that your mother didn't know they existed until they turned up on her doorstep, that your father lied and she divorced him over his lies. She never agreed to be their mother, was never their mother, and had no obligation to them. They deserve to know just how much of a monster their father is. But you should finish the email with any further contact from them and the authorities will be contacted and the relevant legal proceedings will begin. Engaging with them is the last thing to do. These girls' minds are made up, and no matter what truth is given to them, all the lies Dad has told them are their reality and that's all they will accept. That's not your job to explain to them what happened. People seem to be ignoring that these 2 are grown women in their 20s who showed up uninvited at your mother's home, cursing her out. That behavior is unacceptable, full stop. I'm sorry, they are old enough to know better. They know how biology works. Your mom isn't their mother. No contact is best. Why didn't their grandparents take them? I don't understand how they felt comfortable dropping the girls off with a stranger, your mother. They didn't even wait for your father to come home. They just dumped them with a stranger and left. You're not the idiot. Your father and grandparents are idiots for what he did to those girls, your mother, and you. I, female 49, am a single mother with 2 daughters, Jess, 28, and Jenny, nearly adult. I had Jess when I was in college and unfortunately her father passed away when she was 2. By then, I graduated college and was in a 1-bedroom apartment, barely making enough money to survive. Throughout Jess's childhood, whenever she asked for something, I would have to say no because we couldn't afford it. She stopped asking me for things around the time when she was 10, and by 16, she had a job. A year later, Jess came to me and asked if I could pay for half of her college tuition. I said that I couldn't because I was still working at a low-wage job and needed money for Jenny. She was very mad and we didn't speak until she went to college in another city where we went semi-no contact. A year later, I met my now husband, Sam. Sam was a blessing sent by God. He completely turned my and Jenny's lives around, and by a year, we were living together, and in 3 years we got engaged. We got married in a beautiful resort in Hawaii, but we didn't invite Jess because we thought she couldn't afford a trip there. Jess somehow discovered that we got married and she blew up my phone. She was furious that she didn't get an invitation. I told her I thought we were being considerate because she was fresh out of college and couldn't afford a trip to Hawaii. I also reminded her that we didn't speak for years and only texted here and there. It's been 5 years since my wedding, and we've started talking more often. She was at my house on Monday and Jenny walked in, asking if I could pay for her. I agreed and that was that. Once Jenny left the room, Jess blew up at me. She asked me why she had to pay for college on her own and had to be in debt while Jenny got a free trip. I told her that the circumstances were different and that we were better financially. Here's where I may be the idiot. She said that it wasn't fair and that she wasn't even invited to my wedding or given a plane ticket to come. I had enough and snapped and told her to get over it since it's been years. She stormed off and we haven't spoke since I told Sam and a couple of my friends, and they're conflicted. Am I the idiot for treating my daughters differently? You are the idiot. I send invites to people for events I know they can't attend because it means something to be invited. It means you're wanted in that space. The message I get from this is that you are okay with your oldest not being in your space. You could have offered to help her with a house down payment, help pay off student debt, etc. to make it fair, but instead, you yelled. As a parent, this baffles me. You didn't even tell her you were getting married. Somehow she found out. Jeez, I can't even fathom how hard you've had to work to become as deluded as you are. You have no business even being a parent. What do you want from OP? She just wanted to have one day without being reminded of a failure of a daughter she created. Is that too much to ask? Even after trying to throw the daughter away, she dared to try and reconnect with OP. So what's she supposed to do? The daughter is ruining the perfect family image. P.S. OP's husband married her even after she tried to kick a whole daughter out of their life. I'd say they're made for each other. Ding ding ding. You win the prize for the Worst Mother Award. It sounds like you were happy she moved away for college and went no contact with her. You can't blame her. If you can afford a wedding in Hawaii, you can afford to buy your daughter a ticket. It's the least you could do after abandoning her. I bet you don't even attempt to help Jess now that your life is better. It sounds like you never wanted your older daughter. I don't blame her for going no contact with you. Why bother? You were never a mother to her anyways. My husband died in an accident halfway across the country 3 weeks ago. He said he was going on a work trip, but we later found out that all of that was just another one of his lies, and he was actually on a cheating trip, something he'd seemingly been doing for at least the past 5 years. So, yeah, it's been a very intense few weeks. Our kids are a young female child, a teen male and a 19 male. Only the eldest knows about the affair, and we all agreed to keep it to ourselves. The problem lies with his partner. She wanted to be involved. I told her that wouldn't be possible and she should respect our privacy. Even putting my feelings aside, though he's trying to be strong for his younger siblings, my eldest is battling with his anger and grief. Having her there would only cause problems. Regardless, she was there when we arrived at the graveyard, standing some distance away, but she was still close enough to everyone just to make her stand out as if she wanted to be seen. I told my brother, and he removed her without causing too much of a scene. Afterwards, she sent me a text which basically said I was selfish for blocking her from being there and saying I robbed her of the chance to say goodbye properly. For some reason, this is slightly bothering me. I've repeatedly justified my actions to myself since receiving that text. I still believe I did what was right and put my kids first. She had no business there, and her presence would only cause drama. She could always go to his grave whenever she wanted to say goodbye. Was I the idiot? Not the idiot. If she wants to say goodbye properly, she can pay for a memorial service of her own. Having an affair with someone who already has a spouse and children has drawbacks. Not being welcome at weddings, funerals, and other family functions is one of them. She cannot plausibly claim to be surprised at being asked to leave. Yep, a side piece has no place in the main events. I'll say this for the woman, she has balls. The irony of calling OP selfish under the circumstances and showing up and posing herself like some mystery woman just begging to be asked to join at a freaking funeral? What on earth? She's grieving, I get it, but she has no right to demand that she get to participate and certainly no right to be crappy towards OP. OP did right by her kids. That's the key here. Other woman did right by no one. Yeah, except she doesn't want to say goodbye on her own. She wanted to be publicly acknowledged as important to the deceased, because now she'll never get another chance to butt into the life of the family of her dead cheater of a partner. OP, I'm very sorry for your loss and for the betrayal and confusion you must be feeling. But rest assured, you owe her no closure, money, or belongings. Cut her out and keep her away from your family. Text this response to her. I wish you luck. However, stay away from my family. You've caused enough pain. If she has any class at all, she will stay away. And please, for the love of God, keep the lawyers close in case she comes knocking claiming she's with a child demanding money. Not to toot my own horn, but I'd say that I'm a pretty good cook. I enjoy doing it in my free time, and it makes me feel good to make the people I love a meal they will enjoy. My fiancé and I recently got engaged and just had our engagement party last weekend, which consisted of just under 30 people. We hosted it at our house, and I knew immediately that I wanted to cater my engagement party and make the food for my guests. My mother-in-law and I have an okay relationship, but she's one of those women who thinks that everything she makes is the absolute best and that anyone else's efforts are crap. Her food is pretty good, but it's nothing compared to my mom's or my grandma's cooking I had growing up, but obviously I keep my mouth shut about that. Every time we've had a family dinner at her house and I offer to bring something, or even help her out in the kitchen, she refuses and makes up excuses like, it won't be done properly, or it won't be as good as mine. So when she found out about my engagement party, she asked if she could bring some dishes. I politely declined and said that I would be catering the food myself. She got offended that I refused and started saying how she should make the food because my husband's side of the family loves her food and nothing will compare to hers. My husband told her to let it go, that it was our engagement party and my cooking was amazing, so everyone was sure to love it. The night of the engagement party rolled around and I'd spent hours in the kitchen making a bunch of dishes that were perfect. My family and friends loved the food and couldn't stop complimenting me on it. My fiancé's side of the family was impressed too, but my mother-in-law and sister-in-law weren't having it. Every dish my mother-in-law tried, she had something negative to say. Oh my, this is too overcooked. The sauce doesn't taste right in this. See, this is why I should have made the food, etc. My fiancé and I both heard these comments and he pulled her aside to confront her, saying if she didn't like the food, she could leave. Tonight is about us, not her. She started saying that it was so disrespectful of me to decline her offer when she is obviously a better cook, and these dishes weren't made properly and she feels bad for the guests. I was just over it at this point and told her to 1. Get her head out of her butt, and 2. To leave the party because I will not be disrespected in my own house. My mother-in-law, father-in-law and sister-in-law ended up leaving, and they've been messaging my fiancé non-stop about how I was so disrespectful and needed to apologize for taking it too far and insulting her. They even suggested he rethink his decision to marry me. Fiancé told them that she needed to apologize to me first. Both my mom and grandma think it wouldn't have been the end of the world if I'd let her bring a dish or two. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your mother-in-law was going to be an insufferable idiot either way. Better to start things off with strong boundaries that protect your peace rather than letting her browbeat you into doing things her way all the time. She will have trouble giving up that limelight she's been hogging all these years. I'm glad your fiancé is standing strong beside you. Agree. She wasn't offering to bring a dish to be helpful. She was offering to bring a dish to upstage you. There's a huge difference. It's unlikely she would have stopped with just doing a few dishes, and she would have complained just as much about anything and everything that she didn't cook. Be the bigger person cuts both ways, and your mother-in-law needs to learn that. Who goes to someone's party and insults the host's food? She's just rude and you have an excuse never to invite her over again. Oh, you wouldn't like the food, so don't bother coming for Christmas. However you handle it, you shouldn't put yourself in the position of this BS again. I was going to say you should have let her bring a dessert or something to contribute, but obviously that wouldn't have been enough for this woman. Good luck. I'm glad your fiancé is on your side. You're going to need it. My son's 23 boyfriend, 21, got a new job and is excited about it. I told my son to tell his boyfriend to pick a restaurant, and I would take the entire family out to eat. boyfriend picked a sushi restaurant I'd never been to. I said that was fine and made the reservation. When I told my daughter, Teen, about the reservation, she was really upset. She reminded me that she hates fish. I told her there would probably be things besides sushi on the menu. She looked up the menu and said there was nothing. I looked and saw a seaweed salad with no fish. I told her to get that. She was very upset and said a person couldn't be full from a salad. I said she could eat before we went so she wouldn't be hungry at the restaurant. She said that was excluding her and told me to tell her brother to have his boyfriend pick a different restaurant. I said no, and that other people's celebrations don't have to cater to her. My daughter was angry and upset, and she even called her mom to complain about me. My ex said I'm a huge idiot. What else is new? My girlfriend is on my side, but no one else is. Not the idiot. I was very surprised to hear of a sushi restaurant that has nothing but fish and a seaweed salad. No edamame, no vegetarian sushi, no tofu. It's possible, of course, it's just quite unusual, and I wonder if your daughter is exaggerating. Either way, she can be gracious and eat the salad, or she can stay home if she's so mad. But the dinner isn't about her. The choice of restaurant isn't up to her, and it's out of line to expect to demand the guest of honor change the venue. You are the idiot. I love seafood and sushi, but a seaweed salad doesn't sound appealing to me, nor would I want to sit there and watch everyone else eat. Yes, the celebration is about the boyfriend, but you made this a family meal, and one member of the family is expected to enjoy the celebration by watching everyone else eat. Just give her a pass on this one, and as I said, order her some takeout. I completely agree. So many people are talking about all the non-seafood stuff on the menu but completely miss how any sushi restaurant smells strongly of fish. I couldn't stay more than a few minutes in one. The son's boyfriend is not the idiot for picking sushi. He likes it, it's his celebration, but OP, you're a bit of an idiot for assuming she'd be okay with the seaweed salad and smell. Let her stay home and offer to order delivery if she wants. She doesn't have to come to everything.